This is Modern Refugee. Back in the kitchen here, I'm going to can a little chicken. I was going to kind of give you a quick overview of what this all entails. First thing you do if you want to start canning is you need a couple pieces of equipment. You know, I've got a pressure canner, I've got a hot water bath canner. Those are very important. And you need a book. You know, this is a Kerr canning book here. This is an old one. I don't even think Kerr's in business anymore. But Ball Blue Book is the other standard. You can probably even download a copy of that off the internet. But canning meat, it's got kind of a universal formula with a pressure canner, and it's usually 10 pounds of pressure for 90 minutes. That's usually what you do when you can meat in quarts. Chicken's fairly simple to can. That's why I like canning it. You just pack the chicken into the jars. You top them off with hot water, tablespoon of salt. I mean, you don't have to put any salt in if you want to, but I always add some salt to give it a little bit more flavor. And you seal the jars up. You put them in the pressure canner, and you pressure can them. And that's kind of the overview on this. I'm going to kind of show you here how I pack these jars. And what you do is you want to trim any fat off. You don't want any fat. You don't want any grizzle. So you want to start with a clean piece of chicken like what this is right here. And you're going to kind of cube that up. This is how I go about doing it anyway. Cube the chicken up, and then you put it into the jars. I don't mind any type of canning jar for other types of canning, wide mouth or regular for vegetables or whatnot, but for meat it should almost be wide mouth jars because it's easier to get in, and then more importantly, after stuff is cooked, it's easier to get it out. If it's just a regular mouth quart jar, it can the meat can get kind of caught on the shoulder of the jar, and it's just harder to get out. So I like large mouths for canning meat. So basically that's kind of how you pack the jars here. I'm gonna want to get a little further here, and I get ready to load it in the canner. I get ready to seal these up, then I'll jump back in here and kind of show you how I do that. Okay guys, I'm back here. I'm sealing these jars up. I've already done 4. Got them all filled up here and sealed. I'm going to kind of show you how I go about doing that. After I got the jar of chicken packed full of the raw chicken, I put in there. That's probably a good half tablespoon of kosher salt I got in there. And now what I want to do is I want to fill that up with hot water. So I got hot water here from my tea kettle, and I'm going to fill that up. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take a knife. You're going to kind of run this down the side to let any air bubbles out. And let that water kind of settle down. It's not going to take much because we packed this fairly tight. Now this chicken's going to shrink as it cooks, so it's not going to. You're going to have a lot of you're going to have more liquid in this than what we're starting with here. So what you do is you just add this in until you're right about. You can see it here, till you're right about here. You want to leave a little bit of head space inside the jar when you're doing any type of canning, because this is going to expand as it pressure cans. So I think that's about right there, what I need it to be. Set this knife over here. You can kind of see there about where the liquid comes to in the jar. That's kind of where you want that. So now at this point, you're going to take a damp paper towel, and you're going to wipe the top rim off here. Get a good view of this. You don't want to make sure there's any foreign material on the top of the jar or down inside the neck here. So you're going to wipe that out really good. Then you're going to take a canning lid that you've put in boiling water for at least 3 or 4 minutes. And I just boil them in a regular pot here. You're going to take your canning lid, just like so, and you're going to place this on top. And then you're going to take a rim and you're going to tighten this down. Now, you're not going to tighten this down like full bore as tight as you can tighten it. You just want it snug, because the liquid and the gas that's in here is going to get forced out. It's going to expand, and what you do is you want that gas to expand. If you make this rim too tight, it's going to buckle your lid, and if your lids come out buckled, then you got to start over. You got to repressure can it. So we don't want that to happen. So we don't want to like have this reefed right down. We just want to take it down to kind of where it makes contact, and then just kind of firm it up is what you want it to be. So anyway, that's kind of the prep on the jars. Now they're ready to go inside the pressure canner. I'll show you what that looks like here in a little bit. And here's what the jars look like in the canner. Notice they're not touching. Got a little space in between each one of them. There's about 2 quarts of water I got in this canner. This canner's ancient. It probably remembers FDR's New Deal, so it's old. But this is a canner I've been using for years. Still works. Don't have any problems with it. As long as it holds pressure, I'm going to keep using it. When I got it actually running and I got it up to pressure, I'll kind of show you what that looks like a little bit. And then when it's all done, I'll show you guys what the finished product looks like. And here we are halfway done with our chicken canning process. As you can see, we're holding at about 10 pounds of pressure. We're about halfway through. We still got about 40 minutes yet to go. When everything's all said and done and the pressure canner's cooled down a little bit, I'll show you what the finished product of the canned chicken looks like. And there we are, all done. As you can see, the chicken is boiling inside the jars just like it should be when it's pressure canned. Anyway, I just took the lid off. We just finished our 90 minutes at 10 pounds of pressure. So that's kind of what it looks like in the pressure canner. So here we are with our finished chicken. They got a real nice broth in there. Kind of wipe the jars down a little bit. It's always a good idea to wipe down the outside of the jars with a warm soap and water. They get kind of a film on them after because of the canning process, so I always do that before I put them up. Cans are still warm, so we're going to let them sit here overnight on the counter before I put them up. All sealed almost immediately as soon as they came out of the pressure cooker. So they're good to go. About 2 pounds of raw chicken go in a quart. I don't know if I mentioned that before or not, but I just kind of wanted to reiterate that. So that's a fairly decent meal. I mean, that's probably, mix that with some rice to put it in a casserole, or you make some kind of soup with it, or make like chicken tacos or some kind of barbecue chicken dish with this, like tortilla soups, another thing. You can make chicken salad. You're going to have enough chicken in one of these cans to probably feed about 6 people, I'd say. Especially if you mix it, like I said, with some kind of rice or pasta or something, make some kind of casserole out of it. You're going to have a fair portion of chicken here. Like the small cans of chicken that you get at Walmart, like a 2-pack can of chicken's like $4. And there's, I'm going to say, in 2 of those cans, there's maybe a pound of raw chicken to start with. So I mean, you almost got to use 2 of those small cans if you're going to make a meal for 4 people of anything like a casserole or something. So these are almost double that, I figure. So they're definitely better for feeding a family. But anyway, just want to show you what they look like. This is Modern Refugee. Hope you guys enjoyed this video.